Konnichiwa, y'all. I recently got back from my honeymoon in Japan, and we really loved everything about Japanese coffee culture. I mean, the pour over was just amazing in particular, and really the third wave coffee movement here in the US, it owes a lot of the credit to Japanese coffee culture. In fact, I know James Freeman, the founder of Blue Bottle, really, his eyes were open when he saw what was going on with Japanese coffee way back, even before he started Blue Bottle, where everything is just attention to detail, focusing on one cup at a time. But beyond the beautiful cafes that we saw, there was another very interesting element that, in fact, we also loved about Japanese coffee culture, and that is the vending machines. And the vending machines have your typical drinks like sodas, waters, but there is also an abundance of coffee drinks. And coincidentally, right before we got there, approximately 1 week before we got to Japan, Coca-Cola, you know them very well, released the Coffee Plus, only in Japan, and it's really marketed as Coca-Cola with a hint of coffee flavor. Now, it's also supposed to have 50% fewer calories and 50% more caffeine. That's kind of the big selling point of this drink. Now, I was really excited to hear about it, Coke and coffee. I'm not a big fan of soda or Coca-Cola in general. I mean, I'll have it every now and then, but it's not something I really go out of my way for. But in any case, a big brand and familiar flavor like cola, or Coca-Cola, I guess, if we're talking about the brand, was something I felt like I had to try, especially if it was only available in Japan and had just been released. So I digress a little bit, but I want to just stress how difficult it was for me to find in any of the vending machines. I mean, it had just been released. We looked at, I want to say, more than 200 vending machines throughout Japan, and that included Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, big destinations. Couldn't find it. And then finally, like maybe with 2 days left to spare in our trip, we were staying in Shibuya, a neighborhood within Tokyo, where the famous Shibuya crossing is. So we're talking high traffic in terms of people, and bam, we found it. So I actually already tried it. This will be the second time trying it, full disclosure, but I brought back a few cans from the US. It has been chilled. It's still the same structure, I imagine, still carbonated, as you can see here, or as you will see. But I'm just gonna repeat some of the notes in my initial tasting. So it does have that Coca-Cola flavor, but when I first smelled this, I was frankly a little bit turned off. It almost has like a fertilizer aroma. So if you like the smell of coffee or you like the smell of Coke, you probably won't like the smell of this. It definitely is kind of a combo, but that combo is, like I said, fertilizer-y. As far as taste goes, it's a lot sweeter than normal Coke. And in fact, the coffee flavor is there. I was actually watching and reading some other reviews. People were saying it didn't taste like coffee or Coke. I disagree. It definitely tastes like Coke up front, and then the coffee slowly creeps in the aftertaste. And then at the very end, there's almost like a brown sugar that sits in the mouth. So really sweet Coke on the initial sip, transitions to coffee flavor, finishes completely with a brown sugar flavor. Personally, I like it. I didn't think I would, again, because I was biased from all of the negative things I was hearing about it within that first week or so that it was out. But I think that if you're in Japan, it's worth trying for sure. I think it was about 120 yen. That translates into roughly $1. And it is 34 milligrams, so it's not a big drink. And I mean, it says 42,000 calories, but those metrics aren't. So 22. I don't even know what the conversion is. I don't know how they do nutrition facts in Japan. 50% fewer though than what Coke typically has. So don't feel too guilty if you're having it. It's just a small drink. And hey, it might even give you that caffeine kick that you're looking for. But I think it's worth trying. It might make a good gift if you're thinking of bringing something interesting that you can only get back, that you can only get in Japan, bring it back home. Because who knows if this is a product that is going to last for Coke. It's clearly an experiment for them. I think they had a coffee-related drink in the past that didn't succeed. So who's to say that the same thing won't happen again with this? But I think it's good enough to stick around, and I hope you enjoyed this review. And if you have tried the Coke Coffee Plus, let me know what you thought by leaving a comment below. Cheers.